In this issue of Fashion Classics, the year is 1991. Rap ruled that year. Look who went rap and roll, Chanel and Charlotte Neuville. And take a look back at the early career of supermodel-to-be Claudia Schiffer. Meet hairstylist to the hip, Frederic Fekkai. And hit the streets to see how the cool said chic in 1991. Eye-popping, head-turning shades from London's Cutler Gross. So rev it up for the fashion rap from 91.
Can't touch this. My music.
Music, movies, and television have always influenced style. In 1991, rap music made news and set the trends.
And you can't divorce music from style, fashion, cinema, art. You never have been.
I think there's always been a relationship between music and style since pop music began.
Yo, I told you, you can't touch this.
When I think the public sees an artist and the way the artist is dressed has a lot to do with the fashions, and then they go out and try to imitate and buy those same clothes.
I find that designers are almost a breed of new aristocracy, just as, like you have the supermodels who are now just, I guess, like rock stars as well.
You can put them in anything. The beauty just comes through.
As the world became smaller, trends spread in an instant thanks to the media explosion.
Clothes should be made so that you can put something on or take something off, so that you can be a rock and roller.
Fashion is dressing up and having a good time and just looking good, I suppose.
In the fall of 1991, rap music went mainstream. More than any other time in fashion, movies, music, and the streets influenced designers for hip-hop style. Uptown girls wanted to look bad to look good. From Hollywood feathers to rock and roll leathers, the fashion rap meant showbiz style.
Fashion and showbiz are getting closer together all the time. Sometimes you can't tell where one ends and the other starts.
I think with the video fashion, video music, stars, it's all tying up very closely.
I think electronic music and rap and all those things, people have heard them around, they need something a bit gutsy now.
I thought it was very rock and roll. I saw, a huge influence from MTV and Madonna.
The music is part of fashion, is a real part of fashion.
Rock and roll music fused with fashion in the fall of 1991. And nothing sent the message better than black leather. Gianni Versace made headlines in '91 with black patent leather boots that went thigh-high, a must-have item for that fall. And in Paris, Maren de Prémonville was in the groove with patent leather inserts. Leather hip huggers and crop tops were swinging from Joe Casely Hayford in London. Quilted patent leather was the rage from Lolita Lempicka. And Chantal Thomas showed skin-tight vinyl and feathers, another way to dress up for fall '91.
Dressing up means something theatrical, but it also means dressing up rather than dressing down and being very luxury and outrageous even.
And this season, feathers are flying everywhere. Glamorous, wonderful feathers that you might have expected to have seen in one of those old MGM musicals.
Feathers flew in the fall of 1991 with looks that evoked the romance of Hollywood's golden years. Movie time glamour was another trend that made news in '91. Were you glamorous that year? In Paris, Sonia Rykiel scattered feathers over her signature knits for a flirtatious touch. Suited up with feathered accessories was the Carolina Herrera take on fall '91. In Milan, it was feathered sleeves from Krizia. And Isaac Mizrahi's feathers were inspired by the streets.
My inspiration comes from
everything, from the street, from a movie, from everything.
Loving all the street fashion of what's happening there and saying, you know, it's cool, you know, I love it, but I want it done my way.
For fall 1991, designers were in rapture over the cool chic from the streets. Downtown girl Charlotte Neuville hit home with Homeboy looks. Even the State House of Chanel piled on the accessories for rappin' street style. Bold medallions became the status item from Isaac Mizrahi that year. While Carmelo Pomodoro skirted the issue with heavy metal. Donna Karan struck gold in '91 with elegant Tough Girls. Karl Lagerfeld wrapped it all up with a modern edge. And that's the fashion wrap from '91. Can you guess the model who drew crowds of attention in 1991? Claudia Schiffer was well on her way to becoming a supermodel. Blonde, beautiful, a star on the rise.
I was found in a dancing in a nightclub the weekend with friends. I was 17, this was 3 years ago. I was going to school in Germany like every other girl.
But there was nothing ordinary about Claudia. Claudia's striking resemblance to Brigitte Bardot made her one hot cover story in 1991 and still today.
The first thing that I was very happy about was when I had a cover out in Paris, and it was all over the kiosks, and that was the greatest feeling at all. But I'm very critical about me, so I always have things that I don't like this, and I don't like this, and I don't like this. I'm very critical. My family is not very easily impressed by things, but they like it very much, and they're very much after it. They want to know what is it all about, not only the surface of it and the success, they want to know everything about it. It is glamorous, and it's a fabulous job. I think it's one of the greatest jobs you can ever have as a young girl. And of course, there's some parts that are not as great as everybody thinks, and it's not the modeling itself, because that's very easy. Anybody could do that. But the traveling and the being jet lagged, arriving at somewhere in another country in the morning and have to work again all day long, maybe till 12 midnight, and then go on with your traveling. When you do that a certain time, without a stop, without having a weekend, and it starts to be tiring. And that's the only part that's really not so great about it.
Today, Claudia's net worth is in the millions, but it was the sultry Guess ads that built her image.
Well, it's a certain image, yes. First of all, the pictures are black and white. They're very sexy, but very fresh in one way, not in a vulgar way. It's a very nice, gentle way. And working for them is very nice. It's very spontaneous, everything. Nothing is like we have to do this or this. We just do whatever we feel like doing, and we see what happens with the pictures afterwards. And the photographer is German. I'm German too. It's a lot of fun doing it together with her.
While the Sexy Guess campaign created her Bardot image, at heart, the real Claudia was a bit of a shy wallflower.
I guess my images are more sexy and spontaneous and running around. I mean, mostly my image comes in the Guess Jeans ad, so that's what people probably think I am myself too in real life. But I'm not at all like that in myself. I'm not trying to be sexy or anything like that. I'm really normal and rather natural than the girl that everybody sees. That's one reason I was so afraid as well doing shows, because I'm basically like a shy person, and to go out there you have to be really strong and and don't care about all those people. But I managed.
In 1991, rap music exploded on the scene and became an international phenomenon, with its distinct message and a look all its own. From bold colors to shiny chains, baseball caps, and medallions, the Homeboy look had designers taking rap to the runways.
Rap fashion, they do adore. From Paris to the New York stores, designers think the hottest fashion is catching on with a serious passion.
Charlotte and chic Chanel. Rap music rings a fashion bell. So uptown chicks and downtown dudes, come join us for the latest news.
Rap fashion, it'll bring a smile.
Charlotte Neuville designed clothes to thrill and looked to the street for a funky beat. Now here's a peek at her Homeboy chic.
A lot of the look was really inspired by the street. You know, how far you can really take street fashion without making it look trashy, just making it look chic. There are a lot of influences from Homeboy fashion that we used, and certainly I think it's time again for a woman to feel confident enough to feel really sexy about the way she dresses and without feeling cheap. And I think we really projected that in the collection.
Confident. Sexy. Fun. Streetwise. Charlotte Neuville's philosophy: a designer should be like a sponge. And so in 1991, she was on the pulse of a new beat in fashion that started on the streets of New York. Charlotte reworked colors, shapes, and proportions into an affordable collection that got noticed. She took menswear ideas and applied them to her women's wear. From her boyfriend jacket to the Homeboy chic of 1991, her collections bring street sense to fashion.
I think it's really important to be constantly thriving on intake. You know, it's about being a designer 24 hours a day, not stopping for a minute. And music is very important to me. Film, theater, it's really all important because you're feeling what other people are feeling and you're reacting to them. And I think it's no accident that some of us end up with the same conclusion, just maybe a different way of saying it.
Though she no longer designs under her own label, in the fall of 1991, Charlotte rapped her way to the headlines with hip-hop style.
It's the hip-hop culture. So now you got rap, fashion, culture, all together, international.
Rap has had an influence, it seems so. I think it's more on the accessory level, surely with the chains and the hats.
And the hoods, chunky soled shoe.
And the medallions. You know, it all says, I'm a fantastic rapper, and everybody wants to be like that.
For hip-hop dance, let's turn to France. At Chanel, Carl dressed up classics well. So take a look around at Chanel with the wraparound.
You cannot do fashion with closed eyes today. I don't believe at all in ivory tower designers anymore. I think that's very, very démodé. No, it has to reflect in a way the life of today, of tomorrow. If not, it doesn't say anything.
In 1991, Karl Lagerfeld captured the mood of the moment through accessories. While classic Chanel style remained, the influence of hip-hop came through in that fall collection. Lagerfeld struck gold with rap in Chanel.
Rap is expression, fashion is expression, so of course they go hand in hand, right?
That's very important. Rock music and music is really the thing where the fashion influence comes from today. That brings the color, that brings everything. I think that is the only real fashion influence. Influence is influence, and if somebody likes it, it means that's the right moment for doing it.
That year, rap seemed so right. At Chanel, accessories were always a key part of the Chanel look. In 1991, who would have thought that Chanel jackets would team up with oversized clunky chains and medallions? Lagerfeld is a master of pop culture, and he single-handedly took Chanel into the 90s with an eye on the street.
It might take a while to see new smiles, but this is a trial. Let's run a miracle mile, switch up styles. Boom.
If you take a gold chain and you make it costume jewelry, it works on a Chanel dress because Chanel did that herself. So whether it has a medallion on or it doesn't matter.
Chanel is a fashion designed by a woman for a woman.
Karl Lagerfeld, building on the Chanel legacy with new cutting-edge classics for fall 1991. Whether it's daytime street chic or nighttime glamour, hair is always the crowning touch. In 1991, one man was building a reputation as hairstylist to the hippest, New York's Frederic Fekkai. His clients range from designers like Calvin Klein to movie stars Sigourney Weaver and Meryl Streep. While his clients are inspired by Frederic's styling savvy, he's inspired by their celebrity style.
I'm really into now the Hollywood and teenage cheetah look. It's stars. A woman, I want them to look like a star. So I'm not afraid to emphasize everything. So I'll show more of their hair. I'll show more of their color. I'll show more of the volume without making it too fake. It's very soft, very natural, fluffy. As you will see, it's really very glamour, very sexy, and really the hair with part of the body. And that's what I want. I think it's important that everyone find their personal style. I'm really fighting everybody who has a stereotype or who try to have a look who doesn't really correspond to them.
Fekkai's reputation has grown over the years, and today 2 salons bear the Fekkai name in New York City and Beverly Hills. And at over $250 a cut, Frederic's advice doesn't come cheap. But his philosophy that hair has to be in perfect harmony with a client's personal style has gained him a loyal following. Today, Frederic's become almost as famous as the heads he styles. And in the fall of 1991, Frederic believed that hair pieces were a girl's best friend, exciting alternatives to change a look.
I always hear my client telling me, everyone stops me on the street and tell me, Frederic, cut your hair. So somehow I know there's a signature into the style.
That famous signature style made Fekkai one of the most sought-after stylists by the world's top fashion designers. Today, he has parlayed that reputation into a new Frederic Fekkai Beauté trademark. In addition to his exclusive salons, the Fekkai name has expanded to include hair products and hair accessories, and even a makeup line. He's now a beauty authority, and hair is only the beginning. A boutique on Madison Avenue launched a new line of handbags and even eyewear and sunglasses. His ambitions don't stop there. In the future, Frederic hopes to inspire home products, fragrance, and more. But in the meantime, the Frederic Fekkai name remains synonymous with excellence.
What is important to me is really to define a style, to create something. That's what is challenging. I really want to improve beauty, to improve a style, to define a personal look. And that's really the excitement of my profession.
When it comes to looking cool, nothing says hot like cool shades.
The person who wears those sunglasses is someone who wants to look good.
And what was good in 1991 was the bad eyewear from London's Cutler Gross.
They pay attention to their shoes and their trousers and their jacket and their coat.
And the hip know that cool shades are always attention getters.
There for a multitude of reasons. It's a cheap form of plastic surgery, it's for nightclubs, it's for glamour.
Nothing said glamour in 1991 like the frames of Cutler Gross. From downright funky to seriously traditional, they framed it perfectly.
We tend to try and make something which is presentable and rather classic in style. We avoid things which are peculiar or bizarre. So we're trying to make things which look good on people. It's very interesting the effect that a pair of glasses or sunglasses has on a person. By changing, even in one shape, by changing the size of it, alters the effect it produces from classic through old-fashioned, traditional, to real punk modern. It's something which should look good on people. The fact they actually do a job and stop the sunshine, etc., we take for granted. But they should look good as well.
Most people have one pair, but fortunately they sit on them, lose them on planes, leave them at bars and restaurants, so they really have to buy more than one pair every year. Hopefully. They wear out too. We started off making one pair at a time, and then when sunglasses became fashion, we went into this kind of wholesaling and mass production, and suddenly in 5 or 6 years to get to French Vogue, American Vogue, etc. It's very flattering, if nothing else.
Cool shades from 1991. Here's some fashion trivia. Do you remember the must-buy from the fall of 1991? That season, you had to rev it up with a motorcycle jacket. Around the world, the leather biker jacket made some fast fashion tracks. In Milan, Gianni Versace created some of the season's hottest motorcycle mamas. And London rocked with a Joe Casely Hayford beat. 1991 was a season of the motorcycle look at the venerable House of Chanel. And even the House of Dior peeled out in 91. City slickers beware, bikers abounded in New York. The Fashion Wrap from 1991. Fashion classics that still make news today. And now, here are some hot tips that still work for wrappin' style. Soften tough black leather with bright color. And nothing beats a good haircut for cool style. Try a hairpiece to change your look. Don't forget that sunglasses are a necessity to guard your eyes from UV rays. And to add some street funk to your wardrobe, play with chunky chains. And that's the Fashion Wrap from 1991 from Fashion Classics.